Hello guys, Oscar here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today we're learning all about these guys, these bees guys, and what they do, how they work, and how to farm their honey. And stick with me, and we'll get right into it. So first, natural generation. Bees spawn in groups of 1 to 3. We see one here, around a beehive like this. And or is this a bee's nest? This is a bee nest. They spawn in bee nests in groups of 1 to 3, and they will always pathfind to the same bee nest or beehive every single time. Now that the most common biome for a bee nest is the sunflower plains and the plains biomes with a 5% chance. Next up is a flower forest, a 2% chance, and then any other woodland that isn't a spruce woodland or a taiga, they will spawn at a 0.2% chance per tree. Now, as you guys might have seen, bees will actually have a schedule similar to a villager. In different times of day they will come out, and different times of day they'll go back to sleep. They always go into the hive at night, and they always go into the hive during any kind of weather event that's not clear like this. And when they do that, they're always in the hive for at least 2 minutes, possibly more, and that's supposedly to keep them out of the rain. Lone bees without a hive will just wander around like this. And this is actually perfect if you want to breed some bees, where you can take any flower and they will follow you like any other mob, and then you can just take them like this and you get a baby bee, which is probably the most adorable thing on the planet. Aww. Now there's 2 items that you can harvest from a bee nest or a beehive, and those 2 things are honey bottles and honeycombs. These can be used to make the honey block and the honeycomb block respectively. Now, you might have noticed that suddenly all the bees, they got really angry at me, and they had the red eyes, and they were looking really scary. How do you avoid that? Well, if you harvest the honey while there's a campfire underneath, the bees will not get angry. So if I get my very well prepared glass bottle here and harvest, you'll notice they don't get angry at me. You can also use a dispenser and harvest it that way. And I'm kind of lagging a lot right now, just because I just loaded up the world. But for honeycomb, you can use shears, and for honey bottles, you can use empty bottles in here. So now we're in a new world, and now we're going to go on to how to farm honey and honeycomb. Now you'll see these bees, they are going to the flowers that I've placed, and they're just hovering around, and that's them collecting pollen. And while they collect the pollen, they eventually will go back into the hive, and apparently below the ground as well in this case. And when they go back into the hive with pollen, they will increase the honey level of this hive. And you can see that if you hit F3, you go right there, and it is there in the bottom right hand corner. Now right now this hive is here at 0, but in a few minutes, once these bees will get pollinated and come back, you'll see that honey level increase. So as you can see, we got our bees here, they're collecting some pollen, all from the same flower. And if we wait just a minute, we'll see them become pollinated and then go into the hive. There was 1, there's 2, and number 3. Number 3 is doing something else. Either way, when a pollinated bee goes into the hive, it should increase the honey level. So if we hit F3 here, we can see right there, the honey level is now 3, which is pretty awesome. When the honey level becomes 5, that's when you see the golden texture on a honey nest, bee nest, or a beehive. So how do we use this mechanic to harvest honey? Now this farm that I'm going to be showing you is how to harvest honey bottles, which you can use to make honey blocks. And on a honeycomb farm, that's a little bit different, but right now I'm just going to focus on the honey bottles. So the basic idea is that this comparator here is constantly reading how high the honey level is for this bee nest right here, or beehive. Jeez, I can never remember. It's a beehive, this one. So it's constantly measuring that, and because it can compare things, being a comparator, it'll compare this input with that one. And this input right now is 5, and I'll explain why that is later. And so as soon as this honey level reaches 5, it will send an output through here and trigger the dispenser, which will harvest our honey. Now the reason that this signal strength is 5, and we can see this with the power level here on the left, or the right, is that a comparator will actually detect the amount of pages that have been turned in a book. And it does this, the signal strength, based on how many pages there are total, similar to how it works with container filling. So right here, out of 15 pages, every page will be one signal string. So it goes signal string to 3 right here. If we go to page 3, and you can see that is definitely the case. And so going here, we just go to 5. Simple stuff. Now I like to use this simple item sorter design where if we take this right here and we grab any random item that's not a glass bottle or a honey bottle, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold on, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 2 on 10, and 1 right here, you can see that it will let a honey bottle through, but nothing else will because it's not in the dispenser. And the reason this works is that obviously any item will only occupy a slot with other like items, and then until then everything else is locked. So that keeps this whole filter in place. And so when a honey bottle comes in, it will the signal strength will go up just a little bit more and unlock that hopper until only honey bottles come through. And through that we can get it so that we get something like this. So that honey bottle will go through, but no glass bottles will go through. So we can see one module of our farm. And if we take just a little trip into my Redstone Creative Testing world, we can go and see my fully automatic honey farm. Now, as you can see, it works, and it's fully AFK-able, and it's literally just that, what I just showed you guys, stacked on top of itself a million times. And so I trust that you guys can figure this out. It's pretty simple, and it's just the same thing that I've been showing this entire time. And well, except for the glass, I guess. Now, I will say, if you want to build this farm yourself, you do need to make sure you have 3 bees for every one of these, just to get the maximum efficiency. And you can always start with 2 and just breed them up until you have 3 per thing, and the extra bees will always pathfind to a new place. So you don't need to worry about extra bees. But that rounds out this video, so I want to thank you guys for watching. It really does mean a lot to me, and if you haven't already, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing. That'd mean a lot too. But in the meantime, that's all I've got time for today, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later.